Infirmary Media.
Now tuned in to the Selling Out Podcast.
What it does is reaches into your brain chemically and locates your happiest memory chemically, and then locks onto that emotion and freezes it chemically, and then it keeps you happy.
Hello, and welcome to the Selling Out Show. We have a great one planned for you today, and I am one of your hosts, David Schultz. By my side is my partner in crime, Nate Gorzinski. Nate, how the heck are you?
I'm sweaty. I'm tired. But actually, I'm all right. I just jumped in the lake after working all day out in the sun doing landscaping. But it was a good day, man. I don't know. How are you today, Dave?
I am, I'm not sweaty. I should be.
Yeah.
But I have a very comfortable air-conditioned breeze blowing me in my nether region, which makes me feel good. Actually, it's not hitting me right there, but in my imagination it is. So
yeah.
Let's just play it like that.
All right.
I just got back from Mexico.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, so that was, well, I was going to say it was nice, but it wasn't.
Oh, no. That sucks.
It was kind of like one of those 80s movies where a family goes on vacation and everything goes wrong, from the car breaking down to the husband and wife sparring in front of their children. To,
oh, no.
Oh, dude, it was terrible.
You were Dave Griswold?
I wish. I think that's actually would have been a better vacation, because at least he was like on the road with like a supermodel flirting with him.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know the sandwiches were wet, but he was at least, doing a dance floor and everything in the original vacation. No, man, it was bad. Like, my car broke down on the side of a Mexican fucking highway.
Nightmare.
Yeah, the check engine light started blinking, and I'm like, oh no, and I had to get out and open up the hood. Yeah. And now, mind you, there's like really no shoulder to stop on. Yeah. So we're pulled over on a very slim edge, and trucks, are whizzing by you, and you move. Your whole car like shakes with the sheer force of the gusts of wind coming off the fucking, 18-wheelers. I don't know how many fucking wheels they have. Just too many.
Tons of wheels. Tons
of fucking wheels, And anyway, I got the car going again because, I'm a man. I'm full of testosterone. Yeah. And as any of the previous listeners who've been here before know, that's an absolute and utter fucking lie.
Right.
To the most, severe levels. I have none. I don't know how to fucking fix, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Obviously. So where was I going? Yes. So we get to our house in Mexico because we have a house there.
Wow.
The mother lives in it. She lives on the first floor, and then we do the whole second floor business. The plumbing was fucking busted.
Oh, no.
So we had to, I don't know. That's a story for another day, but someone was fucking with it, and so we had to use the downstairs plumbing and share a bathroom with her mother, which was an absolute fucking nightmare. Yeah, so I went from being afraid of almost being hit by large vehicles to having to share the crapper with an old lady, which was not fun. Yes. No, not fun. Again, me and my wife fought every step of the way, because here's the thing. I am a miserable fucking prick when I'm away from home. The comforts of home.
Yeah, understandably.
A lot of people say it. They're like, oh, I get grumpy if I'm not in my own bed or my own shower. But I mean, I wear it on my face. And the thing is, my wife knows me so well that even when I'm keeping it inside and I'm trying my fucking damnedest to be like, okay, I'm not going to say anything or ruin anybody else's time, she just looks at me and she's like, oh, vacation's fucking ruined.
Ugh.
I see your face, motherfucker. I see how miserable you are, and she gets in on me about that. I'm like, well, give me a fucking break. I'm in Mexico. I'm tired. I'm hot. Come on now. Damn. So, but I survived. I'm alive. Obviously, I'm here talking to you today, which I am very pleased about. I am very happy about. Mexico in itself, I've mentioned before, is a beautiful country, a wonderful place to visit. If you haven't, you should do so.
Yes, sir.
Don't listen to the fucking news and think it's all, migrants storming the castle or something, which is all a fucking propaganda bullshit tool, as hopefully any intelligent person would know. So yeah, definitely, if you ever get a chance, go to Mexico. It is an experience. Just don't go with me.
Right, because you have the resting vacation phase. Dave, I was thinking back to a beloved aspect of our childhood that I feel like kids are missing out on today, and it's another thing that I'm conflicted about, but to get into it, the concept of Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, okay, sure. I was hoping you weren't going to say crack.
No, man. I don't know. I was past that. By the time I was old enough to be into Saturday morning cartoons, I was done with crack. So, crack baby. But, yeah, man, Saturday morning cartoons. A large part of me is, I've mentioned this before on other shows, I understand that technology nowadays and broadcasting nowadays makes Saturday morning cartoons, like so many other beloved things from our childhood, obsolete.
Right.
Yeah, man, because who needs Saturday morning cartoons with 5 crappy channels where you don't have really any choice? You have the choice between 3 or 4 shows.
You can watch shit whenever the fuck you want now. It doesn't matter. You stream anything, anytime.
Right. So
there's no appointment viewing anymore,
Absolutely. The best we had back then was maybe a VCR. And that was as close as we got to on-demand viewing. You could record it and then watch it at your convenience later.
Yeah.
We thought we had it so good. But man, I have so many fond memories of waking up. It was the only thing that got me up on a weekend, because I was always the type to sleep. I'm still the type that if you give me the chance, I will sleep in, It's, yeah. So as a kid, I looked forward to Saturday mornings. You get up, you have your bowl of sugary cereal or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Man, you'd watch. I don't even know what I really watched.
You don't even remember what you were watching? You have fond memories of nothing?
Well, a lot
Just
of the
cereal.
Dude, I miss the cereal. I still eat sugary cereals, but I'm old. My idea of a sugary cereal nowadays is Honey Bunches of Oats.
Oh, you wild man! You're a fucking rebel.
You know me. But
wait, where's the one with frosting on one side and regular on the other side?
The frosted mini wheats?
Yeah, the mini wheats. What a fucking ripoff is that? It's like one side is like you think you're eating healthy, but then you flip it over and it's like, ha ha ha!
Absolutely.
Sugar!
And some of them don't even get. Have you ever gotten gypped and you get a whole mini wheat with none on it? Like they missed that one. I don't know if
you're
you
eating
ever
a
had
loofah.
That. Yeah.
It's like you're eating a loofah out of your shower because you're like, where the fuck's my sugar? Yeah. Hey, you know what? Can I tell you something? Because you just made a memory come flooding back to my brain real quick.
Yeah.
Is when I was a little kid and I watched Saturday morning cartoons, my mom would sleep in, and my brother was really little. I don't even think he was fully toddler yet. He was probably like 1.5, 2 years. However old you are to crawl.
Right.
I should know this. I have a son, but I can't even remember when he started fucking moving around. But anyway... he would start crying, and I took him out of his crib, and I set him down somewhere, and then I plunked in front of the TV with a bowl of cereal, started watching cartoons, and then next thing I know, like a half an hour later, there's a knock on the door. My mother wakes up, she comes to the door, and it was a policeman holding my brother.
Oh, my God. He had gotten out?
He got out, and there was a construction site down the road.
Oh, shit.
He escaped somehow, and oh boy, my mom was fucking pissed. And if you did that nowadays, she probably would have been arrested.
Absolutely.
For sleeping in and having a fucking lazy kid who just wanted to watch some fucking cartoons.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that was, ooh. But I remember that. And thanks to you, you reminded me how bad of a brother and human being I truly am.
See that, man. But I tell you, I think the first nail in the Saturday morning cartoons coffin that I noticed was when they started playing after school, the sort of Disney afternoon where there was shows like DuckTales and Tailspin and Gummy Bears and all these shows that would be, on after school. You'd get home and so you didn't have to just look forward to, because kids got gypped, man. Saturday morning, I'm glorifying the concept of Saturday morning cartoons because it was a beloved thing in my past, but honestly, that's all we got, you know? They were like, fuck them. Give them like 4 hours on
you get the
Saturday.
block. And like you said, there wasn't anything on in the afternoon, especially in the early 80s and stuff, so that's what you got. And you were anticipating it all week. You're like, no school, I can just fucking sit home and watch my shit. And for me, that inspired me for the rest of my life because that's how I got introduced to superheroes.
Well, right on.
That's what did it for me. Like, I saw the Amazing Spider-Man and his friends and the Incredible Hulk. And then, watching those cartoons, I walked into a candy store with my aunt one day, saw a Hulk comic, thought, hey, that looks cool. I've seen him on TV before. Yeah. And the rest is history. And I'm a 41-year-old guy with a fucking boatload of comics and useless information just rolling around in my noggin.
Yeah. So Saturday morning cartoons, maybe something in the past that doesn't exist anymore, but the results and the ripple effect of it has lasted to this day.
This summer, you want to beat the heat, not your budget. Plus, with all the activities outside and people having fun, they don't want to be around a filthy smoker. This season is perfect for quitting cigarettes, and the best way to do that is by visiting the fine folks down at Northland Vapor Company. They make it easy to shop for e-liquids, supplies, and more. With 3 retail locations in South Fargo, North Dakota, Moorhead, and Bemidji, Minnesota. Or if you're still working on that beach bod, visit their website at northlandvapor.com. All of their products are Dictone and artificial sweetener free. So whether you're a new or an experienced vapor, rest easy as you sit poolside, knowing that you're not pumping yourself full of poison. So what are you waiting for? Fill that cabana full of clouds and shop at Northland Vapor Company today. Some products contain nicotine, adults only.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
So, like most folks, I'm curious about a lot of things. Unfortunately for me, it keeps me awake at night. And I find myself Googling just random shit, just to kind of like feed my brain a little bit. You know what I mean?
As you do, yeah.
As anybody would. And
Right.
that's why I kind of want to try a new little segment on the show wherein I will Google something, so you don't have to. It's almost like, do you remember the old thing on the web, on the internet? Whatever the fuck they call it, where people cling-clang on the keyboard and look at the big screen and go, It was called Stumble Upon.
Oh, right. Stumble Upon. Yeah.
Yes, and Stumble Upon, you just keep hitting it and it just introduces you to new websites.
Sure.
Well, I'm going to do that for the listeners because I'm going to hit them with a random piece of history or fact or information that they might not have necessarily been looking for. But you know what? Here it is on a silver platter.
Right on.
And just as a little, setup for it, too, is I recently saw Toy Story 4.
Oh, man.
I saw that, on my trip. Oh, man, what? You
I didn't know there was a Toy Story 4, to be honest with you.
I'd never watched a Toy Story movie until my son was born, so I've only been into it for almost 7 years now.
Right.
But, man, those Pixar movies got me hooked.
Yeah.
And Toy Story 4 actually made me cry.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, fuck you. So anyway, don't
You
awe me.
sentimental whatever.
Whatever. Cling, clang, screen, looking at whatever thing. Hey. You're as good as describing me as I am the internet.
That's right.
So anyway, I was at the movies, and I started thinking, like, when did popcorn become the movie snack? Why is it the go-to movie snack? When did this become, rather, a thing? So, thanks to me looking up stuff at random hours, this is some information provided from mentalfloss.com, an article by Maura Lieberman, which is titled, Why is Popcorn the Default Movie Theater Snack? Which is just what I was looking for.
Right.
And she writes, popcorn was hugely popular at fairs and carnivals in the mid-1800s. Street vendors were able to easily make and sell the delicious aromatic snack food by the bag when the first steam-powered popcorn maker was created in 1885.
Wow.
However, movie theaters wanted to stay far, far away from the pungent, crunchy grub. They strove to associate themselves more with the latter half of their name, the theater. A real theater would refuse to be associated with food that would be noisily chomped on and messily strewn about by consumers during showings. Before talkies, literacy was a necessity for filmgoers, and movie theaters strove to target a well-educated crowd. But in 1927, with the dawn of talkies, for those who don't know, that's when you could hear sound in the films. Movies were no longer just geared towards a sophisticated and literate audience. Going to the movies was an activity anyone could enjoy. But this coincided with the Great Depression, and Americans wanted cheap entertainment that would help them get lost in a new reality. Movies fit that bill. Although early theaters weren't equipped to handle popcorn machines, independent vendors were quick to jump at the opportunity of selling directly to consumers. Corn kernels were cheap, so popcorn was inexpensive, and patrons who were not well off could enjoy a bag of the goodness. Vendors began selling popcorn to the people outside of the theater, allowing for a double profit off the simple passerby and film goers alike. The snack was everywhere. Soon vendors could, for a small fee, sell popcorn in the lobby directly to people entering the theater. Movie theater owners began to cut out the street vendors and sell popcorn themselves. Theaters that refused to change with the times and have their own popcorn makers suffered as the cheap snack became in demand. So there you go.
That's interesting information, man. I always wondered about that, because what is bizarrely specific treat to eat? You know, of all the things you could eat, I guess it makes sense. It's cheap, it's tasty, it's addictive, and yeah, I guess it's not horrible for you, except when they cover it in tons of fake butter.
No, it's bad for you.
Yeah,
it's bad. You got to pick the stuff out of your teeth, and try visiting the restroom the following day after gobbling up so much popcorn. But there you go. It's basically because the talkies came around and people were suffering from the Great Depression, and they needed something cheap to snack on. So that's why popcorn is now the most popular snack in theaters across, not even America, across the world. So you're welcome
for that. Yeah, thanks for that little kernel of information. So Artie Lange is a celebrity. He's a comedian. He's an actor. He was on the Howard Stern show for years. But he's also had a pretty well-documented, well-publicized issue with addiction. And it's gotten to a point where fans of his in this day and age are definitely let into, with social media and things like that, we're all let into celebrities' personal lives a bit. Yeah, it's bizarre, man. So Artie Lange is about to be released to a program, a recovery program, halfway house, whatever, after 21 days in jail in New Jersey. It's strange how, as a celebrity, all your misdeeds and problems get literally broadcast everywhere. Like I said, in these days of social media, it's. I know this concept has been gone into before. Like, you had Lindsay Lohan constantly fucking up back in the day, and Britney Spears had her breakdown. You remember that, where she shaved her head and was attacking a
umbrella. She had the fucking angry umbrella rage. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I mean, tons of cases of this shit, but Artie's case is specifically an opiate addiction one, and it's super familiar to me. All the in and out of jail and drug programs, and telling people you're doing great, and then everyone finds out you got arrested again the next day.
Right.
And plus, I used to listen to him co-hosting Howard Stern's show every day, so you get to know a guy. And even on that show, his addiction was a big issue, dude. And especially at the end, obviously. I don't know if you know the story, Dave. He tried to kill himself and ended up in a psych unit back then when he got, at the end of his tenure on the Howard Stern show.
No, I didn't know. I'm not, you said you follow him and stuff?
Yeah.
I don't. And I wasn't a Howard Stern listener. I mean, I was familiar with him because he was with Norm Macdonald on Dirty Work.
Oh, you got a dead hooker in the trunk.
Yes.
And that kind of stuff. And then again with social media, I saw a video recently of him pumping gas,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yep. I'm sorry, I'm not going to, mince words here, but he looked like fucking dog shit.
Yes.
Like, his face was really misformed and everything, and I was like, it must be the cocaine. But then I started thinking about, someone like Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
And, Stevie Nicks had all the problems with coke, but she still looks pretty good, and she still has, a nose on her face,
Right. Well, the thing with Artie's nose, he's actually more of specifically an opiate user. I'm sure he does his share of coke, but I guess all the snorting he did was basically heroin. I don't think he ever moved to needles from what I understand, but his nose is basically gone. The inside of his nose, what holds your nose together and gives it a shape, is just gone. The septum, it's just been eaten away. There's stories going on that he got punched in the face, which exacerbated it. Like the structure was already weakened by all the drug use. And so a punch in the face kind of sealed the deal. But then there's stories that he snorted something that had broken glass in it or some crazy shit. I don't know, but he looks fucked up. But dude, back in the day when he was on the Stern Show and he tried to kill himself, he ended up in this psych unit. And Howard was all weirded out about it. Like he talked about it on the show, he was all conflicted. Because Howard Stern is kind of like a socially awkward guy anyway. So it really got real and personal. And he just kind of washed his hands of the guy after a while. So, but dude, the interesting thing, I remember when Artie admitted he had an issue on the air, on the show for the first time. And it was crazy. So there was this game show thing going on, that Howard does, where this time it was a bunch of homeless people, a bunch of bums. And they had them come up. I'm sure they gave them money, whatever. But they would ask them questions or played some game and basically exploiting these dudes, But,
yeah, sure.
But they were all like, fuck it. You're paying me. I'm not worried about it. I'm already homeless. Well, so... But dude, this one guy, one of the homeless guys, was saying, I'm going to be sick soon. I got a dope habit or whatever. And Artie goes, oh, have you tried these? And he had Suboxones on him, the substitute, methadone or whatever. Suboxone, I've mentioned them before. And they were kind of new back then. This was years ago. But it was funny because he just blurts this out in the middle of this funny segment, and all of a sudden it's Robin and Howard on the show. The hosts are like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And he basically just admitted that he used I'm on Suboxone or Subutex or whatever he was on.
So I'm okay now. I'm
fine.
He's
basically he's like, whatever. So I'm good. It's under control. But dude, then he'd always be nodding off on the show, and it got really weird and awkward, and dude, it ended with him trying to kill himself, and it was just a really fucked up sort of issue, and very personal, and very strange. But anyway, I hope the best for him. He's supposedly getting out, as I said, of jail. He just spent a little 21 days with us. Addicts and ex-cons would call a skid bid. They call that a skid bid when you just do a little short bid like that. And
it's like a sabbatical, just a little skid bid, just a quickie.
Funny story, man. There was this one guy that I knew that was in jail, or he was at court. He was in jail with me. They brought him to court to get sentenced or whatever, and the judge said something like, I'll give you 30 days for this or blah blah blah. The guy goes, oh, dude, I'll do 30 days standing on my head. Made some comment. I think he said it to either his lawyer or to the inmate next to him. But the judge heard it. And he goes, well, here's another 30 to get you right side up. Or some shit. And gave him a double sentence. So you gotta...
It was fucking comedy hour in the fucking courtroom that day, right? Huh? Everybody had a bunch of zingers,
So, yeah, man. But like I said, I hope the best for Artie Lange. And, man, it's a long struggle, especially when you have that kind of money. You said you saw footage of him working at a gas station. That's the story, is that he was at some halfway house And he had to get a normal job as part of his program. And so, yeah, he was pumping gas. There was some other job, I guess, he was doing, but whatever, that's great.
It's kind of like, you brought up some of the bigger celebrities, Lindsay Lohan
Right.
and Britney Spears. He's much on the smaller scale. I don't know
Sure.
what the tiers are named.
Right.
I don't know if he's like a B-list or C-list or D-list or whatever.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned with social media and everything, someone can just fucking run up to you with their phone,
Yeah.
record you, and
Yeah.
for him, he's got nowhere to hide. He's got nowhere to
yeah.
go. And unfortunately, again, he was unrecognizable to me.
Yeah.
And I had to check the source. I'm like, is it really that fucking guy Artie Lange? That don't look like no fucking Artie Lange.
He looks so different.
Yeah, but the drugs will, man, you know it, I know it. They will fuck you up so hard. And this guy's been living in this vicious cycle now for how many years?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't a fan of the show. So when did this thing happen with the Suboxones? 10 years ago? 5 years ago?
Yeah, at least. No, more than 10. He's been off the show probably for close to 10 years.
Well, there you go.
Over 5 years, yeah.
So he's still fucking struggling, and
yeah.
he must have no money. Everything else, all the fame, all the notoriety he did taste or have a little bit of wasn't enough to defeat the addictions in his life, and that's a shame. And that's too bad because it's one of those things we always think, oh, if I could be rich, if I could be famous, if I could have all these things, everything would be okay.
Right.
Everything would finally be all right, and that's not the way it works with a lot of people.
Well, it's, I'm not a religious guy, but I'm not going to say a prayer, but I'll keep, the addicts that are still suffering. At meetings, they always say, keep the addicts that are still sick and suffering in your thoughts, and hope that people can get it, man, because it's a shitty lifestyle.
Juan said, I kidnapped my best friend's baby and sold it for angel dust. Then he sat down. Okay. That was followed by the longest pause in the history of man. Then this is exactly what the counselor said. Angie took a sip of coffee, and she goes like this. Artie, feedback?
Dave from the Selling Out Show here to tell you about Spunk Lube. Spunk Lube is a multi-award-winning lubricant used by professionals in the adult film industry. Spunk is available in hybrid, pure silicone, natural, and pink. Spunk is made with the highest quality ingredients and is non-staining, hypoallergenic, and cleans with ease. Enhance your love life with Spunk. Right now, Spunk Lube is buy 3, get 1 free. There's no excuse not to give it a try. Spunk Lube, a high-end product for an affordable price. Visit spunklube.com today and you can thank me later.
Dust off your LPs. It's time for Nate's Notes.
Musicians can be emotional people. Something about that creative spirit and the desire and ability to put feelings into words and then set them to appropriate melodies. Often a songwriter can capture feelings that the listener identifies with completely, but maybe couldn't express personally. This is a big part of a songwriter's value. Sure, music can entertain. It can make you forget your daily grind and move you to dance or even bang around in a mosh pit. But for some of us, the best songs are the ones that convey powerful emotion, whether it's the powerful feelings of love and hope or the pain of love lost and the agony of grief. I don't know why, but I've always been drawn to the sadder songs and ballads, even as a young child. I had parents that were always big music fans. My mother not only used to bump Billy Joel and Dan Fogelberg while she did house cleaning and other tasks around the house, but she would often sing me songs when I was going to bed as a little kid. I loved it, and she had a great voice. But for some reason, when she would ask what song I wanted to hear her serenade me with, I would always say, "Sing me the sad song." The sad song in question was "What'll I Do?", a song that was apparently written by Irving Berlin in 1923, but it had been re-recorded by everyone from Frank Sinatra to Judy Garland. An old standard, but a sad, mournful one. Some of the lyrics are, "What'll I do with just a photograph to tell my troubles to? When I'm alone with only dreams of you that won't come true, what'll I do?" Not exactly your usual lullaby for kids, but even at that young age, I loved the raw feelings of the lyrics, and mostly the minor key in which it was sung. Just quickly, years later, but still as a boy, I saw an episode of The Golden Girls where Dorothy, as played by B. Arthur, sings What'll I Do at a bar, accompanied by a guy on the piano. You can find the scene on YouTube. It's actually a pretty great little performance. But anyway, so yeah, as I grew into my teens, I slid into the goth scene pretty seamlessly with my penchant for downer sort of tunes and my interest in black clothes. I've spoken before about discovering 9 Inch Nails, the gateway drug for people getting into industrial and goth music. Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails was a guy who basically made his career out of being hurt by nameless lovers and wrote primarily about how sad he was. Mr. Reznor seems to have come out of his years-long funk looking less like the frail, drug-addled waif of a man he started as, and more like a healthy, almost bodybuilder type in his older years. His music served its purpose in my teen years, simultaneously helping me feel slightly less alone and prompting me to focus more on those darker emotions. My own forays into songwriting ended up being as one note as 9 Inch Nails' early albums, although admittedly less well written. Emotions are tough for a teenager or a young adult. The hormones are surging, social cliques are forming, and relationships seem like the most important thing in the world. It's easy to write sad music when you're going through all that. I tend to kind of laugh at those bands who continue to pump out woe is me material long after they break through into the mainstream success and public adulation. But of course, there are people that struggle with genuine depression, and some of them are musicians. So when is it a matter of someone just cashing in on easy subject matter? And when is it simply a medium to truly try to exorcise those sad demons that really are plaguing a person? Unfortunately, sometimes it's hard to tell until it's too late. I never liked the band Linkin Park. They seemed very manufactured and polished. Their music was very trendy and paint by numbers. But their singer, Chester Bennington, who seemed to be one of those guys perpetually writing about how sad and awkward he felt, actually killed himself a few years back. I was never a fan of his, but the story is a sad one. And I hate seeing people fall prey to self-destruction like that, especially when they have a family, as I guess he did. His suicide followed another similar situation in which Chris Cornell of Soundgarden and Temple of the Dog fame took his own life in a hotel after playing a show about an hour prior. In Temple of the Dog, Chris Cornell basically wrote songs as a tribute to a close friend and fellow Seattle musician Andy Wood, who himself died of a heroin overdose. Chris's lyrics are so evocative that I almost tear up still when I hear the Temple song Say Hello to Heaven. No one as of yet has put a band together in tribute to Mr. Cornell in the vein of what he did for Andy Wood, but his loss is definitely still felt in the music community. A common thread among these deaths seems to be addiction. Being an addict myself, it's not hard to imagine feeling so trapped and hopeless that the only way out seems to be suicide. I spent a long time in that frame of mind, but I just never had the drive to actually go through with it. Addiction is a life of enslavement, and with that comes self-hatred and a lot of shame. You can't be there for loved ones much of the time, and you lie, and you do a lot of shitty things. You make stupid choices, even when deep down you don't want to. Like you're on a ride, not completely in control of your own actions. And it's easy to get sucked into that feeling that the only way out of that shitty roller coaster ride is to destroy the roller coaster itself. Imagine being Kurt Cobain, feeling that hopeless when you're possibly the most famous and influential person on the planet. His actions confounded a lot of fans, but I have no problem seeing why he did what he did. I wish he never did, but I understand it. Elliott Smith was another indie rock songwriter with a history of addiction and depression. He started in the band Heat Miser, but he really shone when he went solo. His music is sad and quiet, largely acoustic, and his tender, frail voice is unmistakable. Smith actually got an Academy Award when his song Miss Misery was featured in the film Good Will Hunting back in 1998. But accolades mean little when one is struggling with not only addiction, but severe depression and ADHD, as he was. The primary story of Elliott Smith's death is that he stabbed himself in the heart back in 2003, while he was at the apartment he shared with his girlfriend, which, after years of struggling with his mental health issues, doesn't seem that far-fetched. But technically, the autopsy results were inconclusive as to whether his death was self-inflicted or a homicide. He stabbed himself twice, and after all, one would really have to be dedicated to stab oneself in the chest not once, but twice. Imagine the pain of just doing it that first time, Jesus. There have been tons of suicides by famous musicians. I realize I'm just scratching the surface here. Even painters, artists, and writers throughout history have succumbed to those dark urges. Sadly, a lot of the most creative minds are often the troubled ones. I think it's just a common side effect of being an artist. Obviously, not everyone has that creative spirit. The human mind is fascinating, and some work differently than others. A common trait of depressive people is that they get stuck ruminating on thoughts. I know I've had lots of episodes where I just get stuck thinking about something, and someone will catch me just standing in the dark, staring into space for like minutes on end. It often impedes normal day-to-day life. But that sort of obsessive spirit is often helpful when it comes to realizing a creative endeavor or getting a song or piece of art just right. So before wrapping this up, I want to discuss Ian Curtis. Ian and his band Joy Division were instrumental in formulating and popularizing the sound of post-punk, and even inspiring the goth sound. Ian Curtis struggled from a chronic and progressive case of epilepsy. Some say that his bizarre and spastic on-stage dancing while fronting Joy Division seemed similar and possibly inspired by his epileptic fits and seizures. Ian would try different medications, which in turn caused mood swings and led him to drink and smoke too much. When his daughter was born, he was rarely allowed to even hold her, for fear that he would go into a seizure and drop her. Eventually, playing in the band became an issue as well. On-stage lighting effects, and even certain percussion sounds would trigger the epilepsy. All this was made more tragic by the fact that Joy Division were becoming a really popular band in England. Things should have been great, but Ian's personal health was keeping him from really succeeding. After his relationship fell apart, and with his condition worsening more and more, he finally hanged himself while listening to an Iggy Pop record in his flat. I don't know why that's relevant, but it's part of the legend, so I'm mentioning it. Joy Division were a unique band. Not for everyone, but undeniably they were doing something different for the time. When Ian Curtis died, the rest of the band went on as the largely popular, though in my opinion underwhelming, New Order. Ian Curtis's story is a tragic one. To finish off an all too depressing installment of Nate's Notes, let's go have a picnic together in the sun and listen to some mindless happy pop music to try to wash off such a depressing topic. Although we can't have our little picnic and listen to mindless pop music yet, Dave, because we have to throw a little clip so the listeners who didn't get a chance to listen to our suggested song this past week can check out a little snippet of it. This song is one of Ian Curtis's sad dirges, if you will. It's called New Dawn Fades, and you can hear a section here. But anyway, man, yeah. So I feel dark. I feel I feel.
You think?
Yeah, dude. It's a depressing topic. Not only were we talking about Artie Lange, but now we're going into all this. It's
Well, Nate, I will say, per usual, fantastic piece with some excellent research. So thank you very much for that.
Right on,
I mentioned, and I feel like we've said this a lot this show. Like, we've said this before. We've said this, but I have mentioned this in the past. I like listening to these as much as anybody else, if not more so. I get to sit back and hear your pieces, the Nate's Notes, and they're fantastic. So good job.
Thank you, man. Thanks a lot. So I don't know. I think that I feel kind of bad, man, that we're wrapping up our show with some dark segments.
We didn't wrap it up yet, buddy. You still have to tell people what they need to listen to prior to next episode's Nate's Notes. And I hope it has something to do with like ice cream music from like the Ice Cream Man or something, or I don't even know, like what's popular now, K-pop with those what are they? I don't want to say what I'm thinking. Yeah, but they're like lady boys.
Oh yes, the lady boys. That's what they call them out there, man.
Really, hit us with some lady boy music, then, please.
Wow. Well, I'm not going to go that far, but I will. I've been getting into this one album, so I'm gonna. The whole album is great. The band has a bizarre name. They're called the Easy Star All Stars. So
okay.
The Easy Star All Stars. They're a band of reggae and dub musicians that primarily do really interesting covers of other people's music, and they put out a whole album called Radio Dread, and it's technically a cover of the OK Computer album from Radiohead. So I'm going to suggest the first track from the OK Computer album by Radiohead, but as covered by the Easy Star All Stars. So we'll put a link to this, but the song is called Airbag by the Easy Star All Stars. And as I said, I'll post a link to it on Facebook, and we'll hopefully make it easy for you guys to listen to it. But if not, we'll play a little clip next week, I'm sure. Our next episode, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know what, though? You're throwing out the curveballs here with the cover stuff of the bands, because I'm like, Radiohead? Wait, what's this other band called again? The Easy Star All Stars? Yeah, I'm not familiar with them, so I'm very interested in checking this out. So even with that little curveball you threw, you actually gave me a nice little segue point here. Right because you're going to post it on social media, and that's an easy way to find the show or communicate with us. You can find us on Twitter at Selling Out Show, on Facebook, Selling Out Show 1. You can drop us a voicemail at 774-701-1993 or an email, which seems so antiquated now, doesn't it? I'm going to send you an email. But you can, and that's at sellingoutshow@gmail.com. So as long as you know the name of the show, you can pretty much fucking find us anywhere. Right. So as I like to say, easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's I got that tattooed on my gut, because that's where That's where the easy peasy lemonade goes. Anyway, and that made no sense whatsoever. Yeah, I got to get the fuck out of here. But before I do, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening. Virtual hugs for all of you. We love you. We appreciate it. We had nothing without you checking out the damn show. So, big thumbs up. I am Dave. That is Nate. And this has been Selling Out.
Peace.
Wake up, you never look so glum. Tell me how we know they can't hear us coming. It's easy for me, I got a head start running away. Keep on for your disease spread quick. So how did you learn to be sick? So cunning. It's easy to see, but you just keep on humming along.
Infirmary Media.